powdery and things like that, do you see yourself sticking with 4K and VSP forever?
At the moment, yes. Yeah, at the moment I've never had any powder at all.
Oh, really?
No. And it's I don't say that in a cocky way. I mean, you've got to put the work in from the 20th of December till 10th of February. You just got to spray a lot.
What's your regime that you do?
We'll start off, and I swear by this as well. I start off with 3 oils. Now I put 2 full rates and a half rate of JMS oil.
Style
Yep. And I'll put a copper in on one of them. Now there's this theoretical, I don't know, it's theoretical, whatever, but there's a frost claim for copper as well. Now, I can't prove that either way, but I put one in because it's a good clean-up. It's a good fungal clean-up as well. I know from my organic days, I used to use organic industry's got a bad rap about copper. It's largely rubbish. But I used a little bit of copper when I was organic, but not a great deal.
Is it Koside or Nordox?
Koside, yeah, yeah. And so I 3 oils. So I use 2 full rates and a because I mean it's, at that stage of the year you can be quite cool. I mean, there's lots of research out there, and it's not modern at all. There's a lot of research out there that's 20 years old that copper's pretty cumulus. Mm-hmm. It's pretty useless under 17 degrees. You need the volatilization, the heat. And it's awesome in January. It's good, you can feel it just about on your skin when you walk into the rows. It's fantastic. But so oil through the early period when it's cool, and you can put diethane with it if you want to later on. And anyway, so there's that, and then a predominance of high rate sulphur. 4.5 works for me, just on the kilograms to the hectare on the tanks, the way my tanks work, and then I use the pretty much standard, obviously no DMIs, but standard other products, and I at the correct times, pristine at flowering, and I switch it, not for powdery of course, but switch for at pre-bunch closure. But I just use all those industry standards, but it's all about sulphur really.
Mm-hmm.
And
John has very kindly provided his spray diary for us to.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So but yeah, I mean it's and you can't. I don't know. The powdery thing. It's got to be diligent really. January holidays are over.
Did you said before you don't spray much herbicide, but do you use things like mycocin and that to work with the soil? Or?
I haven't either. No, I've used a lot of fish when I was organic. I used a lot of fish on the ground. I've used a bit since. I did use, in terms of solid fertiliser, just for reference, this block as a whole hasn't had any lime on it since 1996. And I've got my pH and available calcium has been dead. It's every year measured, dead steady around 6.6 to as high as 6.8 pH. And with soil, and with plenty of calcium available. Occasional RPR for phosphorus, and with that I'll probably put sulphur in it. Sulphur prills. Sulphur is really important to keep the sulphur up in the soil.
Well, do you do any fertigation?
No. I ran 3 years where I put a little bit of solid nitrogen on just pre-flowering. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just pre-flowering.
Nitrogen in the form of urea? Or?
No, that was it's definitely not in urea. It was about 20% active. Can't remember the Nitrobor, I think it was. And then Kanakali, which is a potassium product, would have been in end of January, mid to late mid-January, I think. I didn't do any of that last year. I hadn't done any of that previous. This year, as an apple grower, I used to use a little bit of solid, but mostly foliar fertigating with foliar, and just back the soil. Keep measuring the soil every year. and back the soil, and never came adrift, to be honest. And this year, all I've done is I put on, or your spray diary will tell it. I can't even, top of my head, I can't remember. There's 3 or 4, either half or full rate crop lifts, and then a crop K at the closer to harvest when that Kenakali would have been used. And I've since harvest. If you might be able to see a little bit of residue on the leaf, along with a bit of powdery on the leaf, and that's a crop lift, and another. Well, there's also a bit of just extra nitrogen as well. I'm actually contemplating, because it's been such a great autumn and the leaf has still got a little bit of activity that'll still be firing the roots up a wee bit, with that little bit of green. They've had their a little bit of trace element going in there to help the buds in the spring. Because of the potential carryover and the fact it's been so mild and we've got no frost coming, and this comes back again, this is what we did in apples. This is scientifically proven back in the 90s, not just, the scientists proved it, that you put a urea on and you boost the nitrogen on pretty close to when you're going to get a leaf drop, and you speed up the breakdown once it hits the deck, and that really upsets the conidia and fruiting bodies of, was black spot, I don't know. It seems to me that would be pretty sensible for powdery mildew now that there's a sexual stage in powdery mildew and you've got conidia that's going to carry you right through the winter. So I'm probably going to do that, and then straight after that I'll go in and knock the top of the canopy off about.
So we're going to have a look at this beautiful
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.